Hi and greetings. My name is Sylvia Valdes, and I'd like to welcome you to my latest soul service project, which is called AUM, which stands for Answers from Universal Mind. Now, I have been a spiritual teacher, international speaker, and in later times, an award winning writer for the past 30 plus years. And so it is my whole aim, my whole service is to help empower people in any way that I can that's relevant to them, not only to increase and expand their spiritual understanding, but also to help them make their life magical, fantastic, wonderful, and to enjoy the journey. I don't just believe this is possible or that it's what we're meant to do. I know it, I prove it because that's how I live. So that's one of the reasons I share this sort of life happiness information as well. So the questions that I invite people to send in, they can be of a spiritual, metaphysical nature that applies to everyone, or they can be to do with understanding life, making sense of life, and our journey through it. What do we share in common with each other, and so forth. So at the end of this wee video, I'll give you my email address and invite you to send in any question that's been puzzling you, that you can't understand, that maybe is confusing because you've heard different conflicting answers and so forth. And if I can, I will certainly help you. If I haven't discovered the answers already from the ancient wisdom teachings that I've been studying for over 40 years, then I tune in through my higher mind of my higher self, which in turn, of course, is connected to the universal mind. And of course, that applies to all of us. Everybody is connected this way. It's just that it often takes some kind of skill and practice, perhaps, to be able to access this. And I call it the Holy Spirit, the voice, the inner knowing comes in to give you this connection and to answer your questions. And many, many people are just too busy these days to give it that time that is usually necessary to get this conscious communication going. So today, the question I'm going to share with you, I'll just read it out. The question is this: how can we discern who and whose information are genuine and valid, even safe? Because there are so many people offering services. They talk about the energies, the codes, the activations that they can access, and saying a lot about, sometimes a lot about themselves and what, well, they're not really qualifications, but who they think they are. So it was a little involved. That's the short version. Now, it's a tricky question, this, because in my experience, everybody that's offering services in the spiritual or well-being field is well-intentioned. It's just that some at times have not gone into their subject enough, perhaps, and so they're not clear on where they're getting information from, but they're still sharing it. And many, unfortunately, do make claims about who they are, and in some of the cases, not many, fortunately, how extraordinary they are and their abilities and what their lineage is. Often they say it's all to do with because they're masters or they come from another planet or star system or whatever, which may or may not be true. But if it cannot be verified, and especially if it sounds extravagant, to me that would ring alarm bells, because if you can't verify something, then the claims may or may not be accurate. So that's one little test that I would suggest people use as a litmus test, shall we say. But I think the answer lies in the words of a very well-known ascended master called Lao Tzu, or Lao Tzu, as some people pronounce it. And he was obviously very enlightened, and he left a lot of his teachings and information when he finished his mission on Earth. And he said this, in my words: those who know it tell it not. Those who tell it know it not. You have to think about that. What he is referring to is those who are more enlightened, who even are masters, they don't say they are. They don't need to talk about it. They just are. And another saying, by their works ye shall know them. People know this because, well, they prove it in what they can do and what they can offer. So they don't need to, in our 3D expression, boast about it or say, you know, I'm this person and that wonderful person. Because you'll notice if you do read and study about any of the adepts or avatars or ascended masters, or even straight masters that have gone before us, you will notice they all share one quality in particular, and that quality is humility. They don't need to say how clever they are and that they've got the answers and come to me and all of that. They don't need to. They say it not because they know it. Whereas, sadly, sometimes in their enthusiasm, because as I say, people are well meaning, people tend to inflate their pedigree, shall we say, and can fall into the trap of ego to try and convince people that they do know a lot and they've got incredible um, information to share, or they can access amazing energies, codes, downloads, all sorts of names that are used, or they can give you activations or whatever it might be. Um, and of course, nobody obviously thinks to say to them, well, what's your source? Where are these? Where is this information from, or where is what energies, what level are you tapping into? Which actually is a very valid question. I have heard or seen it written. Sometimes people say, "Oh well, it's coming from source." Well, it has to, because nothing can be apart from source. Source, by whatever name you use, is oneness. We're all part of this oneness. This universal consciousness is what I call it. So, of course, anything comes from source in that sense. We cannot be disconnected because the all that is within us, and we are part of the all that is. So, that kind of spurious answer really doesn't shed any light on it at all. So, personally, if I would use that beautiful wisdom of Lao Tzu as your discernment measuring stick. Those who know it say it not. Those who say it know it not. Or the other way around, it really matters not. And I think if you follow that guideline and also remember the humility aspect, then you can discern from the plethora of information out there and lovely, well-meaning people who are eager to serve. So I would love you to send in any question, as I say, that you would like answered. Send it to my email address, which is sjv3@extra.co.nz, and note there's no E in extra. Or you can go to my website, which is simply www.sylviavaldez.com, and of course there'll be a contact link there. And it will also tell you about my book. It's an award-winning book now, The Miracle Effect, which many people have found answers a lot of questions anyway. And I will be including the videos, the answers on that website in the very near future. So I hope that's been some help to you because discernment in this day and age is absolutely essential. Otherwise, we can waste a lot of precious time, we can go down dead ends, or worse still, we can be misinformed, and that can hold us up on our spiritual progress and adversely affect our life as well in many cases. So, do use that measuring stick if you find you're faced with something and you're not quite sure. So, I look forward to joining you again, and meantime, many blessings. Go well.